When you hear the name Tom Arnold, chances are music isn't the first thing to come to mind. This is a very different interview than we've done in the past, and it's full of surprises. For instance, did you know Tom Arnold played drums in a country western band when he was younger? Neither did we. We were also so surprised to find out that Tom Arnold, legendary comedian and actor and troublemaker, is also very sweet. He's an amazing dad, and he was a fantastic guest on Bothering the Band.
All right.
Hey, Tom, what's going on, man?
How are you? Not much. How you doing?
Doing well. So my name's Ryan. This is my producer, Abby. We can't thank you enough for doing this.
Thank you. Who's Martha Sunshine?
That's Abby on her darker days.
She's my angrier alter ego.
I get that. I completely relate to that.
Yeah. So as you know, this is a music-based podcast, but you're a musician. Your rap is blowing up.
That's right. Sasha, what are you doing?
Hey, Sasha.
I have these positions so you can see like one chair on each side so it looks even. My kids' gamer chairs have been here in the, my kids are 8'5" and they have.
That good?
Let me just see. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Whatever. Put that smiley face somewhere too.
It's very fun.
Because I've got Martha Sunshine out here, so just put it in front of the TV or something. Just somewhere where it gives us smiley face. I'll move you over a little bit like this.
I love it.
There's so much kid crap.
I get it.
Put it right there in front of the door because then and do the smile forward here, and then the kids come crashing in, like right here next to that chair, like next to the pylon. Show me that pylon. Let me show those. These blew. My kid, Jax, there was a windstorm and all these blew in the yard, so he thinks they're ours. He's got a bunch of pylons. All right, everybody.
Hello,
okay,
children.
here we go. Hi, guys. They're in the video, too, with Sasha.
I know.
I'm a drummer,
I'm
so
a
I'm
little
going to.
sushi.
Yeah.
Hey.
All right, let's do it. Kids,
Ready?
give me some time. All right.
So, like I was saying, it's a music-based podcast, but we're just big fans of yours. So thank you so much for doing that.
Okay.
I'm ready whenever you're ready. Cool?
I'm ready. I'm
All
ready,
right.
dude.
Abby, you ready?
Go for it.
All right. So just tell us, what's your relationship to music? Are you a big music fan?
Well, I'm a huge music fan. Music is important to me for my peace of mind. I grew up playing music in Southeast Iowa in a country rock band, and started performing live when I was 14 with my sixth of seven stepfathers, and but it's always been, and it gets even more important. I'm 62. My kids are 8 and 5, and so there's songs that are on TikTok, which they think are their songs, which are actually my songs. and once they're on TikTok, then suddenly they're hip or cool or whatever. But they've each played some instruments, but I also don't want to force them. Like I play drums because I think this can be cool, and then I can sing and play drums in a band, which it was. But I want them to discover music on their own.
Oh, that's brilliant. Who are some of your favorites, just off the top of your head?
Well, growing up, Creed's Clearwater Revival was, John Fogerty later in life lived 2 doors down from me, as did Brian Wilson lived a couple of doors down the other side, and I love the Beach Boys too. But a lot of country music early on, and George Jones, and later in life again, I've loved Willie Nelson for forever, and it was funny. We were back in Iowa last October for Halloween because they didn't have it here, and so we went to my hometown in Tomo, Iowa for Friday, and then to Des Moines, the big city, for Saturday. And on the drive up there, Sasha films a lot of stuff without me knowing it. It's a terrible angle to be filmed for me anyway, from right here. But Willie Nelson came on, and my kids were like, "It sucks," and I gave them a very serious lecture about who Willie Nelson is, what he is for humanity, and potentially important in their future if they ever get in the marijuana business. So, I try to get these life lessons, but I get touched by, you know, um, uh, the old country songs, very touching to me because it very visceral, a lot of old music. But I sang my daughter to sleep for the first couple years of her life to George Jones. The bars are still closed, or no, the bars are all closed. It's 4 a.m. I sang that whole song. Uh, you could I shut. You can tell I shut them all down by the shape that I'm in, and just sang the whole. And she really got used to that. I noticed early when she was about 3, she started listening to that song, and so it's a beautiful song. It's not necessarily a kid's song. It's probably a warning to my kids because dad certainly did a lot of that. But I like beautiful music and I also like rock and roll. As I grew up, I rebelled, so I got out of the country rock and went straight into rock. And I was the member of the Kiss Army.
Oh man, I should have worn
until
my
I
Kiss
found out
shirt.
until I found out my little brother was. Then it was over. And that's a band that I have a relationship with in adulthood too. And it's always strange when these gods and goddesses that see growing up in a little town, and then you get to know them, and it's an amazing thing.
Absolutely. Wow. Well said, my man. That's incredible. As a dad myself, I totally understand. It's do you find your kids gravitating towards surprising music of yours? Because for instance, my daughter, for some weird reason, punk rock. She hits on the
Yeah,
cadence of
yeah,
weird punk rock music. She
yeah,
loves Kiss too. Shout It Out
yeah,
Loud was her favorite song forever,
yeah.
which is weird.
Well, you do. My kids are drawn to thrash metal because they're drawn to this.
Yeah.
Slipknot's from where I'm from, so I'm a big Slipknot fan, and also Slipknot puts on a freaking show.
I
They put
saw
on
them
a
in New
fucking
Orleans.
show, and so I said these guys are from Des Moines, guys, where Dad's from, and they're if you like horror movie, if you there's a lot to like about Slipknot, and so it's I let them listen to the music they want. I pay attention to it. There certainly it's when we were young, you couldn't say fuck in a bit song, but it's everywhere now. Even the sweet teenage boys and girls. Justin Bieber says fuck all the
Yes.
time, and and somebody I have in common with my kids, like Megan the Stallion, is I always say that's your future stepmother, kids, right there. Let me tell you. But they love it, and they love little sweetie and that song "Best Friend" that just keeps. And so I kind of listen for what they like. My daughter will point out a dirty word. She's 5, and my son will, he doesn't point them out. But I think dirty words. First of all, I think those words are amazing. I
Mhm.
think fuck is an amazing word, important, and they tend to slip in the stuff. But my son likes to blast it by the pool there, and that's just unacceptable. Because I just don't want to put the neighbor. First of all, I don't want the neighbors nowhere here. Second of all, I don't want them to know how bad we are. And but I love it. And my final, a big musical influence was I lived from 1983 to 1988 in Minneapolis, and was buddies with the Replacements and the guys from the Husker Du. I
Ah,
loved, and
man.
I got to know Prince personally, and I knew him because I worked at First Avenue, which is, I was doing stand up comedy, but there's a big crossover between comics
Yeah.
and musicians. And I always think musicians are actually funnier because their road stories are just better because they're with the band. And, as a comic, you're on the road, you're by yourself, whatever. But because they'll tell you just brutal stories that are so funny. And so I enjoyed them a lot. But Prince when I first went to Minneapolis was filming Purple Rain at First Avenue, and everybody knew he was amazing,
Mhm.
and everybody from around him, and so eventually one night I got asked to play basketball at Paisley Park, like at 3:30 in the
Wow.
morning, and he and his buddies were geared up. I mean, they're really good. Like I know Dave Chappelle has from his show
Yeah.
has some stuff about that, but I'm telling you, they were amazing. But he was a guy that was a night owl that liked to play basketball, and he was very, very good. And then they came out here to perform, after I was very well known, and they were over at the Hollywood Bowl, and I was in the front with somebody, and he's motioning, he's getting people up out of the audience. Prince is to sing 1999 with him,
Mhm.
and he points to me. He's got a cane at the time he was doing that, and I'm like, me? He goes, yeah, get up here. And so you get to everybody knows the freaking words to 1999. I mean, you just don't. There's a problem if you don't. The chorus.
Mhm.
And it got to me, and he was kind of dancing around. He had the mic, and then he put the mic in my face to sing, 2000 whatever. And I forgot it. I was there, and then he pulled it away, and then he came back around the next chorus and just started fucking with me. Like he put it up. I go, no, I told him that I got it this time. Come over here. And he put it up. I'd start singing it, and he'd pull it away, and it was funny. And then in the parking lot afterwards, the guy that played Urkel fucking dogged me. Like people were just trashing me because it was so ridiculous, but still an honor. Still an honor.
Wow. You got some tales, I bet.
Yeah.
Playing basketball with Prince. That's incredible.
Yeah. Well,
Not to
he was a really good athlete when he was growing up in Minneapolis. And then he and his buddies, but they played a lot out there at night. And his guys were better than, as us coming from the bar, but his guys were just better athletically, because you think, well, they're not gonna be, but they were, and it was a tough physical game. That's which is kind of a Midwest thing, but you know he was a very funny guy too. People don't probably realize how funny he was. A very sad story, his ending, which is something that happens, as we know, a lot, too much in our business or any other business, where just one day it just, with him, his addiction wasn't just one day,
Mhm.
but in that day, just, in between getting help, which he was, and it's just very serious. And the opioid stuff is, it's the worst.
It's the worst. It's no fucking joke. Man. I don't even know how to segue from that, but that is, man, I feel like we could talk about that moment in your life forever. I have to preface this question because we've asked other guests this. And it's just fitting that we ask you this. What is your favorite Tom Arnold film?
Oh, well, I've been in 132, and I used to say it four good ones, but there more than that. I just filmed a movie with Machine Gun Kelly a couple 3 weeks ago, maybe that he co-directs, and he's doing a really great job. And it's uh, um, and there's the co-director he's a rapper from Minneapolis or from Minnesota, but they're doing a great job. It's hilarious. He seems to have a great, he's a really nice guy and has a
You
great,
should text him to tell him to do the podcast.
oh yeah, yeah. I'll text his girlfriend and see if she'll have to. But no, I mean, people love True Lies because it's something, it holds up. It's like when music holds up. And by the
Mm.
way, music from my youth, I don't know how old you are, but these guys that, what do they call them? What kind of tours where they're not the oldies, they don't go that far, but the
Yeah.
classics where, and that music from, the 70s, the rock music really fucking holds up. I
Yeah.
mean, I was out back and just went through how you get on iTunes, you get best hits of the 70s. I thought, well, I'll listen to a couple and then I'll get off of that thing. And it was just, everything that from Foghat to just people fucking rocked, and I also loved when punk rock started. You
Yeah.
know, Steve Jones is a buddy of mine. He's been a buddy of mine for a long time, and they also were funny. You know, the Sex Pistols, these other people that had senses of humor. And again, in Minneapolis, they had the big First Avenue, the big stage. And then they had the 7th Street entry,
Hmm.
where you got to see. That's where I saw the Chili Peppers the first time. That it was a small and very punk, and the Minutemen, the people that it was excellent. And so you just have to figure out, well, what is it I like about this music now in my life? Well, it reminds me of a simpler, fun fan experience and a simpler time, but it also fucking fires you up. And I think that there's nothing wrong with any of that.
Man, I feel like we could talk music all fucking day. So we're big punk rock people. We are a little older than we look. We were just talking, I think you'll appreciate this, probably this week at some point. We're saying that our generation, we went backwards with music more than this generation, meaning like it's younger people don't know as much about older music as our generation did. Like Abby loves Zeppelin's her favorite.
Oh yeah, they're
You like it was almost like homework with our however you were raised for us to be like go backwards almost. Like I remember my mom being like, you have to listen to Hank Williams, you have to listen to Barbara Streisand, you have to listen to Bob Marley, and like all this shit.
Carol King is one of those
Oh,
too. But you're right, and I keep wondering: are these songs that are my kids' songs? Will they, when they're as old as me, know all the songs? Like I can, the Manfred Mann, Earth Band, Blinded by the Light, their version of Springsteen song, is as soon as that comes on, I feel I'm in my car. I'm 16. I'm hammered. I'm on a date. That song, you hear it on your shitty car radio, and you're like, oh, there's something else out there, and it takes me right back to that moment with that person, and there are a lot of songs and bands and musicians that do that, and I know, you go on the Sirius the '70s, and every single, like, it's not like some weird, like, I kind of do that, but and I wonder if my kids' music is going to mean as much to them as mine does to me. It doesn't seem possible.
Mm-mm.
it doesn't. I just maybe it's the amount or just the how hard older generations had to work for that music. We had to work for our music.
Yeah.
And what we had was our parents' records and tapes and
Yeah.
all of that. We didn't have instant music at our fingertips all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
that's
that's
true. That's true. Like the obviously the Beatles and were people I heard from my parents and but I noticed later in life they stopped listening to music and they gave up on life. And that's something that I haven't done. Like it is so important, And again, I got to play drums with the Highwaymen, the Willie and Waylon, and all those guys,
Wow.
because I did Farm Aid. I was one of the hosts of Farm Aid, so they're like, you get to set in. Not that I'm a great drummer, but because of my, there's so many things where I got to set in with Chaka Khan, with all these people, and I just I find it even more enjoyable when I'm not sitting in. And so, like, I think of the '94 Woodstock. Chris Farley and I got to be hosts of that, which was this sort of life changing experience for me. Wasn't old enough for the first Woodstock. I mean, I've watched it, I've listened to it, because it's well documented, and there are so many moments for that. But this 25-year anniversary was, it was a big deal, and to be chosen to be one of the hosts of it, Chris and I, it was a big compliment, and you really, there's a lot of things I'm very grateful for musically, and that's certainly one of them.
Man, it's like peeling an onion with you, how connected you are to music as like in general and very specific. Two things. One, I literally today saw a post of Farley at Woodstock 94 holding Shannon Hoon.
Oh
Like,
yeah, poor Shaq. We loved him.
yeah,
He was a member of our group.
it was
Boy,
great.
I'll tell you what a sweet boy he was. And sometimes when you have to be a bit of an asshole to really get sober. You really you got to dig down deep and just selfishly say, "Fuck it, fuck everything. This is about me.
Yeah,
I'm going to take care of me or the young me," which is a nice trick to do. Uh, and Shannon was just very sweet, you know. And of course he could have made it, but he, it was just another one of those tragedies that happened. And it's good
yeah.
to be reminded of that too, you know.
Oh, of course. I also saw a post of your son breaking the pool net today.
Oh yes,
There yesterday.
yeah, he did it last night, and we have a very impressive security system here at the house. We had 21 cameras all together, inside out, and mostly it was for in case their mom showed up. Like she would show up and break into the house. This sounds like a rock and roll story. Yeah, break into the house and call the cops from inside my house. And so, um, but we do this thing where if he gets in a fight with his little sister, and she'll say he started it, no, he started. We'll sit down and go, okay, People's Court. Let's watch what exactly happened. And I found myself assuming the worst of my son because I assume he's a very big kid, and I was the oldest of five boys, so I know the worst because I did it. And but when I've assumed I always take a breath now because those are the times when it didn't happen. Like the video I shot where he came in the bedroom with that broken thing. I'm like, he's like, yeah, I just wanted to show you the wind. And it was so windy here in LA yesterday. I don't know if you watched the baseball game, but it was so windy. And
Mhm.
so to watch that and sit there and watch it and then get to the end. And it was funny because he was in the potty and I took that video and I texted it to him. And then I get back, sorry, but we had a really good talk. There's so many opportunities to parent with your kids, things that come up. Maybe that you hear music that you don't think is appropriate, whatever. It's a good conversation to have, and to what this means and that means, and that's a real good conversation because he can tell me anything, and he can break anything. But you can't lie to me,
Yeah.
not just because I'm going to figure it out, but because it's not okay. Then the big umbrella that is over my exercise equipment. I look in there on the video monitor. It's in the pool, and I'm like, oh fuck, he went fucking back out there and threw. I go, why? And he's like, hey, your umbrella's in the pool. I didn't do it. The wind blew it all the way over, and the base of it is just pure metal about this big, and it had moved 35 feet, and somehow the big giant umbrella is upside down the pool. So we watched it, and it really was. The wind just picked it up like the Wizard of Oz, and slammed it up against the pool. So me and him and his little sister last night, we tried to go out every night and look at the moon and the stars, and we went out and fished that giant. It has a heavy ass umbrella to get out of the pool because of the water, but we all sat there and figured it out. And I'm glad I didn't assume the worst. They
Yeah.
usually don't. I've never seen them do two things in a row. You know what I mean? But I think it's also important to kids to know. Oh, your parents are watching. Like they're paying attention to you. I have a lot of leeway with my kids. Uh, but but I pay attention and I want to know what the story is. And a lot of times they're like, please quit talking. But I also want, and I fuck up too, man. I sometimes will be loud and yell, and occasionally, and they certainly saw some bad shit when their mom was living with this. Uh,
Yeah.
and I do two things. One, I use the thing to watch myself too, and think, boy, I'm a big, I'm 6'2", I'm 250, I'm a big dude, and I can be intimidating. And when I get mad about something, and sometimes you just need to get fucking mad with them.
Mhm.
With your son, sometimes it's okay to lose it and swear, but there's been times when I said, I apologize about that. I remember once he was doing something and he hit his sister. They were fighting. And I said, go to your room, and he said, no, and he laid down the hall. My son is about 5'3". He's 8. He's about 5'3". He's about 135, 140 pounds. He's a big kid. And he sat down in the hall, just laid down in the hall. And then we could go about you know, we need to go about the rest of the evening. I'm not going to let anybody ruin the whole night. And that's sort of how I live each day. Like each day is a gift. And if you run into a wall, you just figure out a plan B.
Yeah.
And he was laying there like, I'm not going to, and I just picked him up and took him to his room and just sat in there with him, my back to the door, and he threw something at me and I threw it right back at him. But we sat and talked about it and, made eye contact, which is really important. It's something I've always had to work at. And, we talk it through. And like I say, sometimes, and when they see something that's Looney Tunes from their mom, I will take a moment, and this is something my dad didn't do. I was raised by a single dad that did a lot of amazing things, and our mom was just a lunatic, so a drug addict, and she'd come over at Christmas and fall under the tree and shit like that. My dad he would just laugh. You want to take the high road. He also found her pretty amusing, but but for me, I always understood. Oh, she's not a mother. Like I never, even from the time I was 4 or 3, I never bought into that. But my little sister did, and she
Yeah.
was Lori's idol, and that's how Lori ended up being the queen of meth, as you see from the documentary series about her. But what I'll do with my kids, something happens that's off the charts in public, free, whatever, and I'll say, "What just happened was not okay, guys." I
Mhm.
don't treat her like that. I don't treat anybody like that. I don't allow people to treat me like that. I don't want you treating anyone like that. And I will not allow people to treat you like that. Okay? And we kind of do okay. And then we move on with our day.
Yeah.
But you just need to take a minute, like, because it's so confusing for kids. I know it was for my sister who would hear something and then with her brain, the way she, because she was like, oh, my mother is a goddess, and she is my best friend. And that's my mother ended up making her marry a 23-year-old pedophile when she was 14, driving her to Missouri. That's the kind of bad decisions alcoholic parents are sloppy.
Yeah.
It's not okay. And so, that affected, but just to get a little reality of what just happened here,
Yeah.
we do with my kids because so many people recognize me when we
Mhm.
go anywhere, and people are very nice, but it's my daughter is not a fan of it, and but it's a different, and I think this maybe when my son was 3 or 4, and we never watched Tom Arnold movies. Even I
Mhm.
have some good kid movies too, but that was kind of their mom. But once she was out, we started. I said, "Well, here's something. Let's watch this together." Of course, my son likes anything with a gun, but they like, and I heard my son say this, and you live your whole life to hear something like this. He was in the back seat. The kids have their car seats back there. I'm driving him to school, and he says on his iPad, "Hey, my dad is Tom Arnold." And that, it just in any, it just that's a big win, and as you could have for my ego, and so, we go about things, every day is something.
Yeah. I mean, this is such our podcast is skews on the silly side, but just hearing you talk, I'm a dad.
Yeah,
You look very proud.
yeah,
Uh, I am also a child of a person who probably was on the rocky side. So everything
yeah.
you're hitting on, I definitely identify
Well,
with.
and also this, we
Good
could just
stuff.
recreate what the last generation did,
Hmm.
which happens a lot, by the way. And with my sister or we could go, I want to do something different. And it takes work because when you grow up around all that stuff, you're also like, I don't dig that, but it's easy to slide into whatever behavior. So I'm half my dad, who's very, conservative, funny, uh,
Yeah.
and half my mom, who's a lunatic. That's who I am, and I have to deal with that every single day.
Yeah. I dig it, man. I feel like in another setting, you and I could go nuts about very similar upbringings in that just reverse it a little bit. My mom was both parents.
Yeah,
It happened to be both of those things. She was very sensitive, but also a fucking psychotic,
yeah,
crazy drug addict.
yeah,
Uh, and it was one of those things definitely affect. And then, like you said just now, it's easy to repeat. It's hard to correct those
yeah.
generations.
Well, I remember I spent a lot of time with Frank Zappa,
Oh
especially
yeah.
towards the end of his life, and they lived up by us on Woodrow Wilson there, and his whole family. We go down there. I made a bunch of tapes. He's like, "Please, let's make tapes." And I think he knew he was going to be was sick or,
Mm.
was in recovery from it. And he was very funny, and he did my HBO specials. And but I spent a lot of time with him and Gail and their family. And you would think, coming from the Mothers of Invention, the music that he put out, the first album I ever got was Mothers of Invention, the album with I know that the chorus is "Shut your fucking mouth about the length of my hair." My
Yeah.
grandparents bought me that album, and I must have been 9 or 8, and they put it on at my grandparents' house and sat on each side of me. As soon as I heard the swearing, I was like, "Oh, yeah, let me take that off." They're like, "No, no, listen." They didn't hear, they weren't like
Yeah.
had never heard "Idiot Bastard Son." They never, but they liked that they'd gotten me an album and they were going to listen to it. And but getting to know him, his kids, you say, I bet his kids are super wild. That absolutely opposite.
Yeah.
They didn't even swear. They were very nice kids. They didn't do drugs. They didn't do, very, very, very nice family. And but he and Gail were very open with them about the life, and
Yeah.
they talked about it, and they were open about sex and drugs and rock and roll. And I think it's best to, back in the day, parents were up here, and the kids were over here and couldn't sit on the fucking furniture. I
Yeah.
do relate to that, because of my childhood. But I think that parents started realizing we have this opportunity to teach about, because I think that parents got more rock and roll probably, and they lived
Definitely.
a life, and so they're able to share that. I think that's what it is. How the fuck do I know?
None of us know. We're just trying to do our best and
Yeah.
to correct a few mistakes along the way. Oh man. All right. let's ask a few dumb questions here.
Okay, go for it.
Do you sing around the house?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Any particular, or do you make up songs?
Oh, do I sing around the house?
Yeah.
I my kids hate my singing. I mean, I sing a lot of McDonald's is my kind of place. I serve that song. They serve me rattlesnakes, and those songs from the hamburgers up your nose, French fries between your toes. So last time I could get my daughter to always sing with me, but it's the repetition. There's a song called "Hello Mudda, Hello Fada" from
Yeah.
Alan Sherman, and our drive to school. I don't know if you know what Sunset is like going to school, especially across the 405, but it's slow. And we had a song list that the kids would get to pick songs, and I'd get to pick one that we'd hear on the way. Like I know my daughter was very into "Call Me Maybe," the yeah, whatever, which is a very catchy song. But
Oh, yeah.
"Hello Mudda, Hello Fada" goes way back, and but she liked that, and then she liked Octopus's Garden. I love Ringo. He's somebody I got to know out here too, and just the fun of that stuff, and seeing your 2.5, 3-year-old daughter digging that music, you know. And it was a great thing because each kid got one song at a time, and we had to listen to the whole song, and then the next kid could get his song, and then Dad
Yeah.
got a song in every once in a while. So we do. We try. I think singing is good. Singing and dancing. We do a little more of that than most people around here.
Yeah. Do you see how happy he looks? He looks so
Yeah,
happy. I
yeah,
love it. It's infectious. I feel it too.
yeah.
Speaking of hello mutter, hello so my daughter's 7. She's missing her front teeth.
Oh,
It's affecting the th, and so that song came up recently because she says fada like
Well, that's so.
naturally.
So did
So I
my
started
does for other
singing it.
reasons. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's cute. That's
Yeah.
cute.
So I
Well,
started singing that naturally.
the whole teeth thing, the tooth fairy. And by the way, my kids know this. The tooth fairy has an open invitation to move in here with us because this is a tooth fairy is a real thing around here, as is Santa, and I think it's important to keep. Each year you have to explain a little more, but we love the tooth fairy. Oh my God, I gotta take it. Yeah, we love the tooth fairy, and so, but she has open invitation to move in with us anytime.
And Megan the Stallion too.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Well,
move
you
in.
heard that a little bit there. That was a little bit. So that's it. Yeah, absolutely,
I love it.
absolutely. All right.
Speaking of rap music, we talked a lot about country and rock. You are a rap superstar. What kind of hip hop music do you like?
Well, I like a lot of hip hop. I like a lot of these women that are these newer to me women. They're just fucking killer. And the reason I like Megan Thee Stallion, A, her music is excellent, and B, just like her point of view. I just, I doubt I'm somebody that could uh, uh, satisfy her every need. But I have to say this: I also watched her do a video from a library, maybe, where she was so sweet. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to say some bad words," and then they're all. I love that, and I love DMX. I worked with him a few times, and his song was the Lakers. Shaq was my next door neighbor. Shaq also tried to rap, but there's songs where you go, oh, that takes me back, and I love the guy I sold my house to was in Lincoln Park, Mike Shinoda, and I love the song that they did with he's
Jay-Z,
married to
right?
Beyonce. He's married to
Yeah,
Beyonce. No,
Jay-Z.
I can't believe it. But I love that song. Because anytime Lincoln Park has some rap elements, had some rap elements too. But I think there's so many people that I love the old country guys too. I love
Yeah.
Alan Jackson. I just sometimes you see these guys and you're like, I just can't. And especially the oldest. I've got to spend time in Nashville, and I had a bunch of TV shows on CMT, Country Music Television.
Right,
Every
yeah.
show with redneck in a title, I hosted. My Big Redneck Family, my Big Redneck Vacation, my Big Redneck Rehab, my
That's
Big Redneck,
right.
and it was such a great opportunity to get down there and spend time with these folks. And my kids love Lil Nas X more than anyone, and I know it's partly it's a big part because his music is excellent.
Yeah.
So I like it because he doesn't take his shit for anybody. Like and it's interesting to see how open he is about whatever, and so I really respect that. I like that my son and my son especially just loves the music, and loves the videos that he could watch. And so I really respect people that are like, hey, fuck you, because that is rock and roll. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking about Eric Clapton now uh, being an anti-vaxxer, but which is crazy. Him and Van Morrison are anti-vaxxers, and they have got to be on the list of pre-existing conditions, and they're very mad at him. People are like, we're rewriting his whole career. But Eric Clapton also started a very successful rehab center. Has done
Yeah.
a lot for the shit that he does every day for people, for real. I was down there. I spent a month down there, and it just the way he does with the community, where there almost everybody's on scholarship from Antigua, and I have to weigh a lot of shit to get very mad at to go, okay, I can't listen to Layla again. You'd have to go through, why we still listen to Michael Jackson around here. My kids have no idea what he, went on, but we listen to it because my kids like it.
I don't care. Let the music speak for itself. I have to
Yeah.
make this joke. It's funny that Eric Clapton, we all know his past. He's like, the vax is like, that's too much chemicals.
Yeah, no, that's funny that everybody does that. They're like, well, if I get it,
Right.
I'm going to get loaded up on the mono whatever, which is experimental, and then I'm going to do this. But I'll tell you what, it's a sickness because, I just heard from my kid's mom. She's like, "Yeah, I'm not okay with it," because I said, well, as soon as that 5 to 11 vaccine gets out, the kids get vaccinated.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to in LA. It's like, I am not okay with that. It's not that I'm anti-vax. They always say that. I just don't like the government telling me what to do with my body. And even though these kids have had probably 9 different vaccinations
Of course.
to go to school, and so I sent her copies of notes she'd written me. You better make sure to get vaccinated. You better do that. Like, this is last year.
Yeah.
So, you get influenced by people, and people have a short memory. And the people that don't, they're anti-vax are anti-women's right to choose, which is fucking, if you are straight across the line, nobody tells me anything to do with my body, then I get that. You could go live wherever you want to live and start your own school. But if you have a problem with women and their right to choose, then you certainly have to be in favor of fucking vaccinations, like forced vaccinations, like, so people are, we're, and I just want to get back to music and comedy live.
Yeah.
It's still stumbling. The whole point is, fuck it, let's all get fucking vaccinated. I went to a football game in Iowa last weekend. Great game. We beat Penn State. 70,000 kids, they stormed the field at the end. But, everybody's got to get vaccinated at the University of Iowa.
Yeah.
So, okay, we got fucking vaccinated. Okay, let's get life back together. Yes. Oh, I'm mad I had to get vaccinated. Okay, you can be mad. But our common experience is music or being together. And if you think that the unvaccinated thinks they're going to get their own music, I mean, Eric Clapton, whatever, but you're going to suck. All of your entertainment's going to suck because the great people are right here. They're smart. So, yeah.
Well, I saw, who Nate Bargatze is, I assume?
Who is Nate? Remind me.
Nate Bargatze, he's a comic. He's a Nashville comic too. I just saw him, but they were very strict to go in.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
Yeah, and then Abby just saw the Counting Crows. They were strict too, but yeah, that's what we do to have fun. We want to see the people we love.
Yep. Yeah, Counting Crows. I just, I got my song list for my workout list, and they're on there. And but yeah, you just want to go have fun.
Yeah.
When I did my 9 months, Adam Duritz was had been asking out Julianne Moore, who's one of my co-stars, and she's like, "What do you think of this guy? What do you think?" I go, "I like that. I like at least one song. I really like it. I think you should do it. I think you should do it."
I was gonna say that's my favorite Tom Arnold film. Is 9 months. Yeah,
it's great film.
That movie,
great fun,
phenomenal, and holds up too.
Yeah, we went to Aerosmith, who I know those guys for a lot of reasons, for a long time, and they had a big concert outside of Marin County. We were filming that movie up in San Francisco for about 5 months. Hugh Grant and I went with Jeff Goldblum, and I got a helicopter for us. We flew down there, and I'm not sure if Julianne and Joni Cusack went, or I can't remember, but we're seeing the concert, and Jeff Goldblum's like, "Oh man, I know these guys. I wanted to stay around and meet him after, or say hi to him afterwards." So we're like, "We got it. There's a fucking 100,000 people here.
Yeah,
we got to get the fuck out of here." And that in that movie, Hugh Grant and I, we're friends, and Jeff Goldblum was the not friend. So we're doing that, and so we get ready. We're like, "Fuck it, we're leaving. Fuck it." And I go, "Where's Goldblum?" "I don't know. Fuck him. We're leaving him here." And we got up and got out and kind of took a look back at the venue, as we're getting ready to leave. And Goldblum is playing piano with Aerosmith on stage, and we're like, "Fuck. Okay, we got to stay. He does know them." We're like before, like, he's so fucking full of shit. He doesn't know those guys. Fuck him. Let's leave him here, which would be a horrible thing to do to somebody. But then we're like, fuck, he does know. Let's stay. Fuck him.
Oh, man. I have to ask, when's the last time you brought a goldfish back to life?
Well, the thing, my act.
What the deal is with that?
Yeah. the Fabulous Goldfish, or Tom Arnold, the Fabulous Goldfish Review. Yeah, which I had live goldfish. I'd see this guy Joel Hodgson when I was at the University of Iowa, and he came down and he performed, and he was just a brilliant comic. And he did, he was on SNL, he was on Leonard all the time, and he did this different kind of, and it was sort of a prop comic, but he was so brilliant. And he stayed in I'd opened for him there. They came over at our house and stayed in my house and my bedroom with us so he could save money at a hotel. And I said, what advice do you have? He goes, be different. And so I looked over and I had a bowl of goldfish, a goldfish tank. And I went, I'm going to be the fucking goldfish guy, whatever that is. And I would take him on stage to do tricks and stunts. And people, one rode a motorcycle through a ring of fire. One was a sword swallower, obviously. But I got him out of the water. And people eventually got very pissed off, which is, if you're from Iowa, you throw carp away, goldfish or carp. But people would be like, and plus I'd be so drunk doing it, and I'd be working with fire and all this stuff. And and then after the show, I put them in the trunk. And in Minneapolis, Iowa, it's fucking cold, and a lot of times they would freeze. And so, goldfish can freeze and then come back to life. Some, but you better know where a fish store is, because they do thought there is some sort of magical thing about them. But I had to do more than one show where they're all dead and just swirling around because I couldn't find a fish store in a small town. So, yeah. And I gave up the fish one day. I said, it's time to just be me. So that was good.
Is any video evidence of you and fish exist?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have to.
Yeah.
Abby, you're going to
I sang with him. I sang some Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass songs. That was my theme song. These are the goldfish, and my name is Tom. These are the goldfish. I know that we're going to get along. The fabulous goldfish. Yeah, they've got magic, suspense, stage, or drama. It's true. They're the kings of the aqua comedy world, and they call them the Fabulous Goldfish Review. And and a tube song. Walking off stage music was a great song by the Tubes. Talk to you later. And so that seemed very cool, especially when I was in college. But I had all those Herb Alpert songs, and it was silly, but it was a good way to get me started. Like, it got me noticed by Letterman. It got me, and then eventually you're like, shit, it's much easier to be yourself. And then, instead of trying to be Joel Hodgson,
Man. Have you ever pooped in a porta potty?
Fuck yes. I almost did this last weekend in Iowa. They let me into the basketball stadium, but I shit many porta pots, many. Some nice, some disgusting. My buddy Bo, who was with me, went right in there, a million times. It's funny. There's a lot of peeing outside here at this house, and I did show up, but my son peed on the tree outside first before he broke the thing. And you know how kids, they drop their pants all the way down, so it's just his butt sticking out. But I have peeing outside is highly recommended, and getting your hands dirty is highly recommended. Porta potties, they're better than they were when they first started. First of all, my buddies, I'd go in, we'd all have to go in, and then you start fucking with the guy in there, shaking the thing. But you go in there ready to go. You go in, and you probably need to carry some kind of napkin with you in there just in case they don't have. And man, you get in there and get that thing locked, and you got to have your pants down and maybe be crowning before you get in there, just ready to rock. I mean, it's horrible and disgusting. But people have sex in those. Not a little bit of people, a lot. And it's not much different than an airplane bathroom.
Yeah, but it is a bit different because of it's what's still in there, what's still floating around in there.
Yeah, that is true. It they got some really nice porta potties now. You see backstage at concert, there's still porta potties, but you try not to think. If you think too much about anything, I worked on the kill floor of a meatpacking plant for 3 years at high school. I can tell you what's in sausage, what's in Spam, what's in your meat. What is in your meat? You don't want to fucking hear it. You don't want to hear, I also know, because of being a farmer, what's in your vegetables. How they get those fucking vegetables to grow in sand. And it's, you don't want to know everything.
No.
So, if to think about what's down there, the funny story I ever heard was somebody stole the shit out of Johnny Depp's porta potty for money. And I'm like, well, that's a level of fandom that I am not interested in. But you Google it, it might be an urban legend, but
it was Abby. Abby did it. She got
yeah. I love Johnny Depp though. Yeah.
Okay, here's a
Johnny Depp is another actor that wants to be a musician. And
yes.
Alice Cooper, there's a documentary series called a documentary movie that Mike Myers directed about our buddy Shep Gordon, who's a famous, prolific music manager. He's always had Alice Cooper, but he started with Janis Joplin, these people, and he's been just a big. And to watch his career is called Supermensch: The Legend of Shep Gordon.
Okay.
You really got to see it. It's crazy, and what he's done. He's a great fucking dude, but there's things happen, disgusting things happen sometimes.
Disgusting, real disgusting. Oh, okay.
But if you got to shit, let me tell you something. You got to fucking shit. You got to shit.
You got to shit.
Try to do it at home. We do it at home here. We do our best. But if you have an emergency situation, and I know this from being a father and driving my kids up over Mulholland every day to school, sometimes one of those kids gets an emergency situation. Once they got out of their diapers, and I just fucking pull over. I got a big towel, open their door, block them, and whatever they had to do right there on the side of the road, because I wasn't losing my place. and I will say this: almost every time my son had to pee, emergency pee, I would help him get it back in, and then it triggered something in me where I'm like, "Fuck, now I got to do it." And then I pissed in parking lots and side of roads with my kids, and because it triggers. It's Pavlov's dog. He's sitting there peeing comfortably, and I'm like, "Fuck, I gotta pee. I gotta pee right now. I'm gonna do it." So,
I gotta pee
whatever.
right now.
Yeah.
After you get a haircut, are you one of those people that have to take a shower right away, or can you just go on living your life?
I could go on living my life for a little bit. I mean, I take a shower that day. I got a haircut last week. She came over. She also put some dye in it, which I'm not just a little bit of. So I did have to wash it after that. I did go into, and last time she came, I just stuck my head in with the the thing they put over you, and it drenched it. I tried to do the easiest shower ever, where I stuck my head in the shower and soaked up, but I didn't even take the thing off, or my shirt or anything. I should have, and I was being super lazy. But I could do, there's a lot of things I could do as long as I take a shower at night. So, I don't have enough hair to, but it does grow fast, what hair I have. So yeah, I would take a shower before bed, and my kids, I don't believe every day you have to take a bath either. Wash up the rough spots, and I think it's okay if the kids aren't. We'll do a lot of pool stuff via the pool, and I'll consider that the bath for all of us sometimes.
Yeah, the pool washes. Yeah, I was just saying this. The pool counts. I'm counting it. How do you feel about raisins?
I like them.
Yeah?
I like raisins a lot. Yep. I like raisins. I like green grapes. I like raisins a lot.
Wow, okay. What about the yogurt covered raisins?
Oh, fuck. Excellent. Excellent. It seems like you're eating healthy, but I could eat a whole the whole fucking thing of those, because it's the illusion. Oh my God, this is yogurt on raisins. How could that be fattening? But it's all sugar.
It's all sugar.
But I like yogurt covered peanuts better. But I'll do raisins.
How do you feel about wasabi flavored?
I don't like wasabi fucking anything. I don't like wasabi. The first time I had wasabi, in 1987, Rosanne came back to Minneapolis. I had my going away shows, like you do. I was going out to write her show. she came back to perform so she could raise a bunch of money for me.
Yeah.
And we went out afterwards, and they, I never eat sushi, but people were eating sushi, and then they also had chips. And there was a big pile of grease up there, which I thought was guacamole. And I fucking dug a chip into it and fucking ate it. And it was so, it was so fucking hot. And I think it damaged me a little bit. And then years later, I did a show called Hot Ones on the internet.
Yeah.
And I knew going in that I think 2 Chainz or somebody, I was working at Vice at the time, they had not finished, and I was like, I'm gonna fucking eat all 10 of these. I worked at the meatpacking plant. I ate a lot of. We go in the locker room and they have bets. Can you eat? And people grew hot peppers in Iowa, fucking hot. And if you could eat them, you'd win $5 or $20. And so I knew going in. I'd watched a couple episodes of it. They're 1 through 10 is how hot the hot sauce is, and there are little chicken wings, which I love to eat. And I ate 1, 2. It's fine. The interview's going fine. And then about 7, I knew something was terribly wrong. And it's also great because it takes you off your game. It's a great interview. I enjoy watching people do that interview with that Sean guy because, you come along, you're doing your bits, and all of a sudden, fuck, you are in pain. And you can't be, the rest of the interview, you got to be like honest in a way, because you are suffering and you're this. And at the end of it, they're like, "Oh my God, you made it!" And you can watch for yourself. And then they're like, I'm going to take your mic off. I go, no, don't get it. I know it makes no sense, but I'm fucking angry at you, and don't get near me until this shit calms down. and it took about 40 minutes, but then there was a serenity to it, or a sort of a good feeling after, because I thought it was never going to end. And it did fuck up my taste buds. I'm very sensitive to hot stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did it fuck up? Did you have to use a porta potty after that?
Oh, I'm sure. And I like going to the bathroom every day. I want to tell you, I drink a big thing of prune juice, and I time it. Because for that next hour, I got to be near something familiar. But I'm a big believer. When I go on the road, I'm going to go make a movie in London next week. And some countries don't have fruit juice. Like, I did 2 movies in Italy where they're like, we have grape juice. I go, no, I need fucking, here's what the bottle looks like. Please fly it in here. Because I go about 3 days and then I'm going to be very crabby. So, yeah, I'm all for, and if we had a porta potty here, my son and I'd be using it. Just because bathrooms are full sometimes, and it'd be funny, and it's easy. You're out playing in the back. Who fucking wants to come in, do all that stuff, and you could just do it right there?
I couldn't agree more. I think you should get your own line of porta potties. Tom Arnold's.
I would.
We need
the guy that did Here's Johnny or whatever it's called. Fucking rich, man. That guy.
Yeah. More food questions. What do you think is the most underrated candy bar?
Underrated. The
Duffy. We asked the hard.
the classics. Well, the classics. Salted nut rolls are really, really good. Is that the name of the? It's all nuts on the outside. Oh, and peanuts on the outside.
Baby Ruth or
no, Baby Ruth has chocolate.
Payday?
Baby Ruths are good, and Butterfingers are fucking excellent. Butterfingers probably underrated, because my kids are like, we don't like Butterfingers. We don't like, because they have Twix and Kit Kats, that stuff from. But Snickers and Butterfingers are solid gold, man.
Yeah,
solid gold.
I couldn't agree with you more. Okay, back to Farley. Okay, your Farley's Chippendale sketch or Farley's motivational speaker sketch?
Very close. His Chippendale sketch was probably better because it was a one-off. And that week he called me and said, "Fuck, they want me to fucking take my shirt off with Patrick Swayze, and they're gonna make fun of me. And what do you think?" And I said, "Well, I'll be the fat guy, which he is always used that as an excuse. I said, well, if you're going to be the funniest fucking fat guy ever, then do it. And he
Yeah.
really was. And he's just, and it's so, it's such a sweet video too, because Patrick Swayze is excellent too. And Patrick Swayze looks as weird as Chris Farley in it. To me,
Yeah.
a guy from Iowa, like that. And I get to get to Chris Farley, but how the fuck do you get to Patrick Swayze? And I thought it was great. But the motivational speaker, is solid gold. And his impression of me was very good too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I always loved the Chris Farley show because I thought that was him, where he was like timid and asking the questions of like, Paul McCartney.
Yeah. He had, part of it was timid like that.
Yeah.
But a big part of it was the other way. We'd go somewhere to a party and he'd be like, I'm not going to entertain everybody. I'm fucking just not nobody. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I want to fucking, I'm not here for that. And I'd go, that's fine. Why are you telling me? And then 5 minutes later, I could hear him like, hello, everybody. Like he wanted to be both things, which who doesn't? We all like to be both things.
Yeah.
Great
He's
guy.
my all-time favorite. And I asked that question because I knew you had a hand in the Chippendales. And just wanted to pick your brain a little bit. You share a birthday. Do you know who you share a birthday with? You mentioned one of them, actually.
Shaq.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Shaq. Leonardo da Vinci.
David Gilmour. Rob Reiner.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
And-
Rob.
And D.L. Hughley.
Oh, yeah, DL.
Yeah.
Hughley. Yeah, he's funny.
If you were going to have help blowing out your birthday candles with one of them, who are you choosing? So dumb. Such a dumb question.
I mean, I knew, like I say, I lived next to Shaq for 8 years, and that was the whole time I played for the Lakers. I just loved him. I love DL too, and Rob Reiner's a really solid, good guy. I don't know David Gilmour, but I know who he is. I know his music, and I know that he's went through some interesting thing with the bandmate. So he might be the most interesting to do it with.
Yeah.
All
right,
got my
good
courage
answer.
up. Yeah.
How many bugs do you think you've killed in your life on purpose or by accident?
Well, when I was young, we would go down to all the kids down to the church parking lot, get on a bus, and then be driven 30 miles away from our parents, and put in the middle of a cornfield with drifters. Like there's people that come by, migrant workers, drifters, adults, and they put us kids. I was 12, 13, and we loved it because we got paid. But how little, I'm the oldest of 7. This is how little kids were thought of back then. A crop duster would come over our heads and spray while we're in the middle of the field. They wouldn't go, hey, everybody out, we're going to do, no, you had to keep working. And my hair would be wet from pesticide. And so I've been a part of a lot of bugs. I did just kill a wasp nest fell down outside here, and my daughter hates bugs with a bunch of wasps on it. Yeah. And I just took a big brick and slammed it down. So I just did that today. And on the other hand, my son and I, we go out at night looking for pine cones. That was one of our collection things over the years. Yeah. And at night, some bugs come out from the grass onto the sidewalk. And there are these beautiful beetles. And they come out, and my son and I would get down on the ground and look at them. And then he'd say, I'm going to smash them. I go, no, don't. Just look at them. Look at them, and then you'll never want to smash them. And I had this great moment with my son where I'm teaching him, look at they got their whole families up there in the grass, and they're coming down here to get some food or whatever. And then he got it. And then as we stood back up, my son accidentally just crushed him with his foot. Oh. And I was like, that is just a metaphor for any parent. You do your best. But I've killed a lot of bugs, and I have no problem killing bugs. Just like I have no problem going in a fucking porta potty. There's a lot of worse shit. There's a lot of worse shit.
Indeed. So this is my favorite question, and I was blown away by this research. There are a ton of funny people from Iowa. Do you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna do a little list. My friend Brooks Wheelan.
Oh, Brooks.
Yeah, Steve Higgins, Johnny Carson, Gene Wilder, like it's you.
Cloris Leachman, fucking Cloris Leachman's from Des Moines. I did her last movie that comes out this fall, High Holiday. Ron, what's his name from Office Space? Ron Underwood, is that his name?
Livingston.
Livingston, I mean.
Yeah.
Apologize, Ron. He's very funny.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of, what's that?
I was going to ask, do you watch Louder Milk? I think you would like it. His show.
I will.
It's a recovery show. It's very funny.
Oh, it is. Oh, good. We're watching the Squid Games.
Okay.
Me and my kids. My kids heard about it on TikTok. It's pretty violent. It's pretty, it's South Korean with subtitles and, but yet I'm just like, and my son likes watching this with me. It's a series. Yeah. And, there's a lot of things that are metaphors for things that happen. It's also very bloody, but, the fact it's kind of a slow go. And it's very cool that my son wants to watch this with me and be at Halloween one of the killers. I guess that's not but yeah, there's a bunch of funny people from Iowa,
funny people from Iowa. Like I was blown away. I don't even have a question. I was just like, I got to talk about this with him. And
well, Jason Momoa is from Des Moines. He won't admit it, Aquaman, but I know him. And he's actually very fucking funny too. But he's like, yeah, I'm from Hawaii. I go, you're not really though. Didn't you go there in high school or some shit? He's like, yeah, I'm from Hawaii. I go, but you're not. Because once you're from Iowa, you're from Iowa. Even though, Johnny Carson moved to Nebraska when he was very young. But, John Wayne was from Iowa. Yeah. I just think it's important to whoever, has an Iowa connection. We have the Great Iowa Writers Workshop there. Whoever comes, and by the way, these great writers,
I know,
that write. Kirk Vonnegut. I met Kirk Vonnegut a long time ago, and I said, "Why Iowa?" And he said, "Because of the women." He really did. Because they go there and they have this second life with people, right? And they're like, "Yeah, we're here for the Iowa Writers Workshop, which is incredible, and we also like the women." And I will say this, growing up, because it's the reason people are funny. We worked on and farmed. If you were together. We did horseback competition. We did everything with the girls. It was us and them. And you had to count on the person next to you. And if a 14-year-old girl's dad was a farmer and he died, it would be fucking on her. So everybody, there wasn't this weird, girls over here and boys over here. And our girls' sports were even more popular than the boys. Wow. People really... And so, you grow up around that. And bands also will tell you they like playing in Iowa for the, same reason Salt Lake City. Because the people that go to fucking concerts are fucking fans. And the women are super fans. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. Man. Oh, goodness.
What?
I could talk about the Writers' Workshop, too. Hey, guys.
Yeah, it's amazing. Jax has 16 Christmas trees, right? 17. We're Jewish. He has 17 Christmas trees, and he's in charge of Christmas. And man, when he has a task or a job, and I said, you can be in charge of Christmas. It's yours. I did that a few years ago, and he's added to his collection. And I didn't want him to go up before Halloween, but we made a deal that we would decorate. He could decorate for Christmas, but we don't decorate for Halloween this year. We go trick or treating, but we're not going to do the outside of the house. And so. It's he gets home from school. He does puts up some stuff, and there's a lot of hauling for these trees. And we don't have as big a yard. Our last house had a big yard where I would give him a shovel. He would just dig holes in the back. Yeah. He'd be so amped up, and it's a very effective thing to do. I'd fill them in. He'd redig them. And if you get a kid to do that, and all of this stuff. Anyway, it's important to him. We love Santa Claus.
He's bringing another one.
What else you got, son? Another little one? Okay. But you should see, I'll send you the whole living room. They've got a pink one, 2 pink ones, a white one, a black one, a purple. What's that one? Multicolored for his gay uncle, Chris, my brother and his husband. Rainbow. Got rainbow, man. Got one for Sasha. Got one for Rosa, who's our beloved housekeeper / daddy. And yeah. So there you go.
This is... I have to ask, what's next for Tom Arnold?
I'm going to, you know, I going to London to make a movie called I Don't Even. It Just Happened, and you know, it's working with a director I worked with or a producer I worked with before, and it just came up today. And that's the thing about my business is really the next phone call could be what's that, honey?
We also got a blue tree.
A blue tree. Yeah, we got a blue tree in the corner. I don't know if you can see it over there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But he has. So that's what I'm going to do. I wish stand up was opened up completely, but until then, I started doing these autograph shows, which are a whole different world, which I genuinely enjoy. MonsterCom and these things, and it's just the people get dressed up, man. The people that are fans of this stuff, they're really fans, and they get up. They'll ask you questions about movies I don't even remember doing, and so I enjoy that. And you know, and then we're just getting ready for the holidays. That's around here, so
Man,
you know.
tell me the name of the movie again.
Sasha, here's the script. It's called The Abomination.
The Abomination.
Yeah. All right.
We'll promote it.
Hold on. Here. All right, let me just hang that up. All right, guys. All
Tom,
right. Well,
thank you so very much. For real, this has been so much fun, man. Thank you so very much.
Yeah. Thank you guys very, very much. Good luck to you.
It's Tom Arnold, but call me Big Wasabi. Don't make me send little sushi to your lobby. That's my assistant. We are not fucking, just clarity to your chicken heads is still plucking. Yeah, end of discussion. Single dad, bottom still sucking. Can't masturbate without interruption. The kids have to eat something. There's more dick up me vomit. How many times can I clean the kitchen and the oven?
One in the hand is two in the bush. Sushi Wasabi out here for the kush. Fuck with the team, man, you don't get cooked. AGB poops like a please don't look. King to your rook, you better be shook. Stop to the code. History books, suburban brother that can steal your toots. Just like a crook, mine's like a foot. One in the hand is two in the bush. Sushi Wasabi out here for the kush. Fuck with the team, man, you don't get cooked. AGB poops like a please don't look. King to your rook, you better be shook. Stop to the code. History books, suburban brother that can steal your toots. Just like a crook, mine's like a foot.
It's Lil Sushi Mean in the quarantine. Live in Big Lebowski's dream. Tandem parking ain't no way to live. So got kicked out the crib. Now I'm one of his kids. It is what it is. Although I fuck with the gummy sack, still got IBS from that. Now cupping else, that's word to Jack. I never hope a Quinn can second that. Run through Instagram and the whole world stops. Black Lives Matter, that's a fact. Really haven't seen Wasabi's movies like that. Bet you know I'm on the second verse, but it's always
One in the hand is two in the bush. Sushi Wasabi out here for the kush. Fuck with the team, man, you don't get cooked. AGB poops like a please don't look. King to your rook, you better be shook. Stop to the code. History books, suburban brother that can steal your toots. Just like a crook, mine's like a foot.
Did you do the super bill?
What's a super bill?
This is a super bill.
I don't know what a super bill is.
I think it's something to do with insurance.
Okay, there's security questions. What's your favorite TV show? Is it The Roseanne Show?
Of course not. Try the Honeymooners.
Didn't work.
Try the Jackie Thomas Show.
I think it's The Roseanne Show.
It's definitely not the Roseanne Show.
Yep, it was The Roseanne Show.
That was a pretty good show.
Yeah, okay, next question. What's your wife's maiden name?
Which one?
One in the hand is two in the bush. Sushi Wasabi out here for the kush. Fuck with the team, man, you don't get cooked. AGB poops like a please don't look. King to your rook, you better be shook. Stop to the code. History books, suburban brother that can steal your toots. Just like a crook, mine's like a foot. One in the hand is two in the bush. Sushi Wasabi out here for the kush. Fuck with the team, man, you don't get cooked. AGB poops like a please don't look. King to your rook, you better be shook. Stop to the code. History books, suburban brother that can steal your toots. Just like a crook, mine's like a foot.
You see it. ADP, Tom Arnold, Jax.
Then I jumped into our trampoline, the second floor, and the trampoline went all broke.